So we'll now be discussing the details of the activities in the conversion cycle. So remember, in our chapter 1, so there are two subsystems of the conversion cycle. We have the production planning and control and the cost accounting. So you can see here the two activities, okay? The two subdivisions. So this is the first subsystem and the second subsystem. So the other details not in narrative will be discussed through the diagrams or flowcharts. So you can see here the activities and or departments of production, planning and control, about materials, the scheduling of production, so activities of the work centers or the production area and the storekeeping. So storekeeping holds the raw materials, and then the inventory control. The details of the inventory control are not included, specifically the details of the economic order quantity, the order point, and safety stock. So just a general definition for EOQ. So it's actually the number of units that uh, we need to, or this model will determine the number of units that we need to order uh, for raw materials per order, which will give us the least cost, okay, pertaining to the purchase. Okay. The order point is just the level of or the quantity wherein if that level goes below, we need to reorder. So there's a specific computation pertaining to that, in which the details will be discussed in your accounting 7. Okay, specifically on working capital management and the inventory management. So the details of that we will not include it here. That will be discussed in your accounting 7. And the safety stock is just the buffer of inventories. For emergency purposes, we need to stock uh, a certain level of inventory, which we should not touch. Okay? As you can see here, the flow chart. So you can see various materials and activities. So we focus on the processes and the department. In the production planning and control, so the main activity here is the assessment of the inventory requirements. Inputs will come from the uh, inventory status, okay, coming from the inventory control, okay, this arrow, so the other portion of the uh, diagram, so this arrow actually comes from the inventory control and engineering, okay, the specs, okay. And you can see here inputs from the marketing. So this is on the assumption of this one is a traditional one, that the production process or conversion process is triggered by sales forecast, and then details of the BOM and the route sheet should also be considered here as input. And then the activities here, preparation of the documents, okay. And then the next step, of course, important documents are the production schedule and the work order. Then the next activity or step is to transfer the relevant documents, specifically the where's that? It should be the production. Where's the production planning? Okay, to the work center, open work center. Okay, open work order. Okay. Here, the production schedule will go to the work center, and also, so to authorize the production and to start the production, we need the first work order here. Okay, also to the work center. This is the production, of course. Okay, so in the plant, so activities will be done, and then information will be given from the to the payroll pertaining to the time spent. Okay, which is the time cards and the nature of job for each specific activity. Through the job ticket, it will be given to the cost accounting. Of course, the production or the work centers cannot start if they have no raw materials to begin with. So the forms are prepared to be given to the store, okay, to the store, okay, to the stores. Okay. Then you can see here we will be discussing the activities of the cost accounting, because there's a separate flowchart for this one. Okay. So next, as we continue, So the raw material, the requisition forms, excess material, material returns, and material requisition prepared by the work center will go to the storekeeping. The storekeeping will release the goods. Okay, they will file. They will release the goods to the work centers. Okay, and then they will file, of course, the documents. Okay, and then they will give the details of the requisition materials to the inventory control, okay, for the recording, updating of raw materials inventory, reduction for use, and addition for returns for the excess. And then information on the materials requisition will also go to the cost accounting here. Okay, but important items that we need to consider, okay, for as part of the task performed inventory control is the after the production is done, specifically on a per work order basis, this letter. So this letter comes from the work center. So they will receive details as to the work order, and then the finished goods will be updated. The work order will be filed. As you can see, the task of the inventory control is to update the materials inventory and the finished goods. And of course, they will prepare journal vouchers, okay, so that entries will go to the general ledger. If you can see here, there are two JVs, one here and another here. If you can see, the first one pertains to the raw materials, the second one pertains to the finished goods. For the cost accounting, okay, so as you can see, there are three source departments. So meaning the cost accounting will receive documents from three departments. First is from the production planning. So they will be receiving the work order, okay, which initiates the process. So it will be used to record WIP, okay, so the WIP file, okay. So as I've mentioned, cost accounting is in charge of updating the WIP subsidiary ledger. Inventory control is in charge of updating the raw materials and finished goods. From the work centers or from the production, it will receive the job tickets and move tickets. Again, similar with the payroll process, the job tickets are used to update the WIP, okay, for labor. Okay, standard costs information are needed, assuming we use standard costing. And then the documents, okay, coming from different departments will be filed by the cost accounting here. Okay, yeah. The inventory control will give the details of the material requisitions. Okay, the requisition form, the excess material, and the returns. Okay, the important information which will derive from these forms are the variances, in which the cost accounting is in charge of that. After analyzing the variances, they would prepare a report to be given to the management. And then for the journal voucher, so they are in charge, the cost accounting is in charge for the WIP related entries. Okay, and then in here, of course, the journal voucher, the GL will receive journal vouchers from the cost accounting and from the inventory control, update the GL, okay, and then file the two JVs pertaining to entries pertaining to the goods, raw materials, WIP, and finished goods. Okay, so the controls into the traditional environment are also the same for the physical controls. So there are six. Okay, focus here is on the direct access and indirect access to the assets. Okay, assets involved pertaining to, of course, the inventories and PPE. So this is the summary of the physical controls, the six physical controls. So they can be easily understood. I just want to emphasize some. For the authorization, okay, as we mentioned, the work order initiates the production process. The move tickets authorizes the transfer from one work center or one work area or one production area to the other. And materials acquisition authorizes the release of raw materials from the storehouse to the production department or work center. For the SOD, so this can be easily understood. So supervision, monitoring, so access control, there should restrict physical access to the inventories, finished goods, raw materials, okay, and the production processes, okay, accounting records, the work orders, the job tickets, the WIP finished goods file, and independent verification is also important, specifically on the cost accounting. As you can see earlier, there are there are documents coming from three sources. Okay, the production planning, okay, the inventory control, and the work center. So information from those or documents from those three departments will be received by the cost accounting. So they reconcile it, then they perform recording activities specifically related with WIP. Okay, for IT control, so this is a summary: input, process, output control. So quite similar with the other with the IT controls in the other transaction processing cycles. So just to note for the output controls here, of course. So security of distribution of the documents and management reports. Specifically here from the production planning, there are various production documents sent to various departments in which these documents initiate the process. That's why they are very important. Okay, so just to run down, because we need to uh, mention something, a concept within the world-class companies and lean manufacturing. So this can easily be understood. So we just mentioned, discuss here the details. So you can just read this one. And then for world-class company, so these are the characteristics of the world-class company. What we want actually to focus on is on the lean manufacturing. So just remember this item. Okay. So principle of doing more with less, eliminating waste, and reducing the production cycle is the key concept of lean manufacturing. Okay. We need to discuss lean manufacturing because of these. Okay. These important concepts that you will encounter if you look if you study manufacturing. Probably you already encountered this in OPMAT. Okay. The MRP, MRP2, and ERP. So we'll be discussing this because these are important concepts in manufacturing. At least you know, if you encounter this, you have an idea. Okay. If you look at the definition for the materials requirements planning or MRP, the focus is on the inventory requirements. Okay. For the manufacturing resource planning MRP2, so it incorporates techniques on the production, okay, not only on inventory requirements. And for ERP, so it's a software assembled. Okay, actually we've discussed this in SAP. So it's a system used company wide. Okay. As you can see here, I highlighted. So MRP, the important thing about MRP is the determination of adequate raw material. So that's the key essence, okay, of MRP, materials requirements planning. As you can see in this diagram or flow chart, okay, so you have here the MRP system, in which you determine the raw materials needed here, okay, so that it will be purchased. So you provide the raw materials for the work centers, okay, and then material requisition, okay, from the storekeeper to release the goods, okay. So that's the main focus of the MRP. Of course, as we mentioned, so information on the sales order for actual goods that we've ordered, levels of inventory, and forecasted sales, meaning the traditional one, the planned sales, so that you can determine the planned number of goods to be produced. So are important inputs for the MRP. We now go to the MRP2, which is the manufacturing resource planning. So the difference of MRP2 is to MRP1 is that you have additional activities or aspects of MRP2. So not only in the determination of the raw materials, but you include here the product manufacturing, the product engineering. Specifically, this pertains to the BOM or the recipe, the sales order processing, also the billing, even the human resources, and other related functions. So you can see here the details of the benefits. So for memorization purposes or for familiarity, you can just look at this one. If we look at the flow chart or the diagram for MRP2, as you can see, this is the MRP2. Okay, MRP1 only focuses on this one. Okay, and I think it also showed this one. But in addition to MRP, the MRP2 also contains this one. So performance evaluation for MRS, for raw materials acquisition, purchasing. I think this is also included in the MRP. But you also have the employee time information related with the payroll. Okay. It is also integrated here, the cost accounting for the move tickets, and for the completed orders, of course, the billing system. Okay. So for finished goods. So as you can see here, MRT2 integrates more files, more activities, more departments as compared to MRP1. Okay. Lastly is on our ERP. Okay. ERP is related with EDI, meaning in ERP it uses advanced technology, and an aspect of advanced technology is EDI, meaning computer-to-computer transactions. Okay. So what is the relationship of ERP with MRP1 and MRP2? ERP actually is much more related with MRP. However, the difference in ERP and MRP is that MRP focuses on manufacturing firms, but ERP, considering all the aspects, okay, considers both manufacturing firms and non-manufacturing firms. Kumbaga, yung MRP2 focus on manufacturing firms. ERP focus on manufacturing firms, and they can also cater to non-manufacturing firms. But the basic concept is the same, that MRP2 and ERP consolidates, both of these consolidate activities within the firm, okay, focusing on the manufacturing. But ERP goes beyond manufacturing because it covers not only manufacturing activities.